Namaste and welcome, beloved mighty companions, to this holy light circle. Where we start with infinite light, identity. Last night I was talking about the habit of the exploration of consciousness, the changing, the play in consciousness to explore itself, explore the moving and the changing. And Jesus is offering, see that you're unchanging. To start to notice what doesn't change. Does infinite light of being change? The changeless one. What he points to in lesson 1 in 44, very early in the course, he's saying, drop all thoughts, all feelings, all emotions, let them fall away. And notice what's here already. Before thought, before feelings, before emotions. And just notice. Just notice what's here before thought. Is there an object here before thought? Or is an object, objective experience, an idea? You can ask Jesus. Is the thought that I'm a body, is that just an idea or is that true? Jesus, is it true that I'm a body? And hear his answer. It's the admission that there is no body, that is seeing what's here as free. Can't be bound. Can the light of infinite being be bound in some way? And you find a way for infinite light of being to be bound. See, the consciousness itself is a play of thought playing in there, a little thought game. You can ask Jesus, Jesus, is consciousness a thought game? And do I like to play the game of self-intimidation, being intimidated by a world? And is the light of divine being intimidated by this world, or it just is? And Jesus, do I prefer hate over love? Is consciousness a play of preferring hate and fear over love? And hear his answer. Because when we let these thoughts land so deeply in the heart, the recognition thought, the recognition where it just goes, wait, there's something here that isn't an object. It's an idea. Do I have an idea of who I am? As Jesus said. To be in consciousness is to get married to thought. Consciousness is being wedded to thought identification, ideas and concepts. Yeah, Dyra asked a beautiful question. We were talking about last night. Jesus was talking about how there's a concept of who he is. One of the reasons why we don't speak to him. We don't speak to the voice that's most natural. Well, you can ask him, Jesus, do I not speak to you because I have some concept about what that voice is? And what it means to follow that voice? Do I have a concept about what it means to follow that voice? Concepts are a means to protect personal identity. The only way not to follow that voice is to maintain a sense of personal identity. Jesus, when I don't follow your voice, does that mean I want to be weak? You can ask him. Is that an investment in being weak when I don't follow your voice? See, the ego likes that little triumph of not following. See that's the I, the triumphant I. It likes to be triumphant over light. Ask Jesus, do I like being triumphant or attempting to be triumphant over the light, over your voice? And hear the yes. Every time we give into weakness, it reinforces identity. You can ask Jesus that. Jesus, every time I don't follow your voice, am I reinforcing a sense of identity? It's like going to the bank of death and putting money in there. You can ask him, Jesus, when I don't follow you, is that making an investment in the bank of death? An investment in making a world real. Do I desire to invest in making the world real? Below my level of awareness. It's innocence. You can ask him, is that innocence? Yes, he would have you know it's innocence. But it's not divine being. It's not being accountable for being a divine being. That's our only accountability, is to accept the gifts, all the gifts is given by the Father. You can ask him, Jesus, is my only accountability to accept all the gifts of the Father? And do I have a desire below my level of awareness to experience receiving all the gifts as the Father as sacrifice? Do I have a desire for that experience? Do I want an experience of sacrifice, Jesus, below my level of awareness? To experience myself less than wholly whole and complete, and will you help me? Jesus, do I have a desire below my level of awareness to remember not to laugh? To forget that I wanted to play insane. Did I want to have a game of playing insane in there? You can hear them. Lesson 314. Thank you, Jesus, for showing me where I wanted to play insane. I love that little icon. Is that icon? What do you call those little gifts? Those little emojis, those moving emojis, those little hilarious ones. And there's one in that I put in. I was just talking about the owie. Do I want? You can ask Jesus. Do I like this? Do I have a desire for experience of owies? I can ask. Yes, you do. Okay, so anyway, so then I just want to hit, and up comes, it pops up one of those little, really cute little moving emoji gift-like things, and it's a little character walking upside down on its ears and going, ow, ow, ow. Is that a great symbol for us being upside down, Jesus, and wanting to be upside down in our thinking, in our thoughts, in the way we view ourselves, upside down? But we like it. Ask Jesus, do we like all that, those little owies? Are they all desired experience, the owies of consciousness? You could start like, oh yes, Jesus. Okay. Whew. At least we can admit it. That's honesty of God. Even the cat knows where to be. Come to satsang. I seek a future different from the past. Okay, Jesus. In truth will be honesty, God. Do I seek a future different from the past? The answer is no. We just started looking deeply. Okay. Oh, yeah, no, Jesus, I don't want it. At least we can see no, 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 no to it. And we can see that's a play in consciousness to say no. Jesus said, until you see where the no's are, you can't see what you're saying no to. You can see it, that you're infinite light, because it's natural to you. It's the no, the play of the no within consciousness to give light the boot. Jesus, do I still want to give the light the boot from my awareness, infinite light, and just not see it? He'll tell you where we're on. That's why we need his help to tell us where we're. So he says, yes, it's a really good idea to look at what the concept you have of me. You believe I'll take away your future. You can ask him, Jesus, do I have a concept in my mind that you're going to steal my future away? If I talk to you, you're going to steal it from me? That was just so powerful. And you see why how everything's given for type in a way. Out comes this chapter 20, all the desires, and starting to look with Jesus at every one of those desires. You desire an experience. You believe your brother can rip heaven from you. And then Jesus, you desire an experience of your brother ripping heaven from you, and the going, oh, yes, that is correct. Jesus, do I desire an experience in which my brother rips heaven from me? That's a good one. That's what you're feeling when you don't want to join. The desire for the experience that my brother will rip heaven is when you don't want to join with your brother. To feel ripped, the desire to feel ripped. And since Jesus is, there's only one and there's no one to be ripped from, we can ask Jesus, do I desire an experience where I'm feeling that you're going to rip heaven from me? Is there any more of that in there? Jesus, I'm looking for sure. Any twitch. It's like, the tiniest twitch, as he says, is the play in consciousness to deny divinity. So we can just ask, okay, Jesus, I need your help on this rip thing. Really, ripping is feeling too. Ripping heaven from ourselves, the experience of heaven, to play in consciousness instead of heaven, being one with God. You can ask him, Jesus, do I have a preference for feeling ripped over at peace? Every preference is the feeling of being ripped. And then to protect from looking, to preserve the sense of feeling ripped, there's anger. You can ask Jesus, Jesus. You already start hearing them as soon as you answer the question. Is the desire for experience anger, is that a cover over to see that I really want to feel ripped? I really want to have that feeling of heaven being ripped from me. So you want to think, okay, it's something outside myself. Like, do I want to feel subject to the world? Ask him, Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, do I really like the play and prefer the play of consciousness over peace? Do I prefer, see, that's the wish, that underground desire, the preference for being ripped over heaven. It's like, until we admit we prefer being ripped over heaven, Jesus can't help us until we admit the preference for being ripped. Self-ripping adventure. Then we can laugh at it. You feel that ripping energy go up your back. You're going, he's right. He's right. But we can ask him too, Jesus, am I innocent? Even if that ripping plays in consciousness, I'm still interdescent. So all he's saying here with us in the most loving way, so much love, just see it. See the play and admit the play. So you cease to deny that you want the play, that the play is wanted. That's it. Ask him, Jesus, is there any more than the admission? It's where you don't want to admit it. You're going to withhold those miracles from yourself. You're going to withhold me helping you from yourself. That's that play of trying to have conscious control over miracles where we really need his help. Jesus, so which miracles? Show me the desire, and starting always with desire, the wanting of the experience, the energetic, oh, I want it, Jesus, like that, instead of the actual experience itself. Sadness, frustration, whatever's appearing up in the too late for Jesus to help me because I'm helpless category. Well, we can ask, it's the whole play. And you see that really, if you sit with Jesus with chapter 20 and just go to, and just honesty of God, go honesty of God with all those kind of like the Jesus checklist that it gave. It helps establish that relationship where you're right about 1,000 times. But it's a happy you're right. It's like, yeah, I want that play. I want this one. It's really just to establish that talk with him. At least that's the experience here. Where he's absolutely right about it. Just like it's the Reader's Digest of A Course in Miracles. And then you could step out of the metaphysics play and you see how it's metaphysical avoidance is what because when we get in the, and this is how consciousness is, and all up there, he's saying, stay out of that. Stay with the direct asking me, is this true, Jesus? Stay in the admission. Oh, I don't want to admit that I'm not a person. You feel it. Oh, I don't want to admit I'm not a person. Okay, Jesus, right, I don't. And just be with that. Rather than the sideways diversion of something remembered. See, consciousness loves that play. I remembered what Jesus told me in the Course, remember, but it's not living in the heart. It's not living in the presence of now. That's why he's teaching us very carefully. Listen in the present. See the presence speaking. Then we're practicing his voice, the presence, infinite love speaking now. Here's what Jesus is saying. Here's what he's teaching me to look at right now. See, he gets us to the now. So he's turning this lesson, I seek a future different from the past, to switch that seeking mechanism, the play in consciousness to seek for something inward. It's like the foundation of spiritual practice is to cease seeking outside for something to looking within. That the opportunity to see things differently. From new perception of the world, there comes a future very different from the past. New perception. We can just ask him. Let's ask him. Jesus, he's so loving, and he's so loving. If you have a chance, if you haven't had a chance to start joining yet, just watch some of those joining sessions and you'll see just repeatedly how when beings turn to him to ask him a question, he's laughing. Not at us, just with the joy of being able to reveal to us who we really are. Because we turn to inward, see the seeking within. And it's like a little hit. You get a little love cuddle. You start getting a little love cuddle. Once you allow him to help you uncouple the sacrifice idea. Because that's the very idea that love is sacrifice. Jesus, do I have a desire to experience love as sacrifice? So when we're working with him directly, you'll see the gentleness in it, the infinite love in it. Yet he'll get more and more direct with you as you invite him in. He's just going to be, because then that laser power within that comes through, it moves through consciousness, but it's not coming from consciousness. You can ask him, does that voice for God come from consciousness? You can see that comes outside of consciousness. It moves through super consciousness, but it's beyond this world. He's teaching us to express from beyond the world, in the world, but not of the world. So working with him on sacrifice, all the desire for the experience of sacrifice. That love is sacrifice. Working with him is sacrifice. He says, be with me in this. Because that's the upside. That's walking, that little figure walking on its head going, ow, ow, ow. He's really funny. Ask him, Jesus, do I like walking upside down on my head and going, ow? He's going to tell you yes. And then you can laugh and go, yeah, you're right. Okay. So we can have a joyful releasing of the idea of a personal identity. Jesus, are you asking me to suffer, to relinquish? No. Who's the one asking for suffering? That's another good one to work with them on. Jesus, can you help me release? Is it, well, let's ask him first. Is this a good thing to look at very early on? The desire for an experience of suffering to wake up to divine nature. Is that a good one? Here's the idea that waking up has to be difficult. See the specialness. Is there specialness in a difficult spiritual awakening? Ask Jesus that. The more difficult it is, the more the desire for an experience of specialness. You can ask, oh, yeah. Ouch. The more special it is, because it's simple. Ask him, is spiritual awakening simple, Jesus? He says, because you're already that. It's the denial that's complicated. See, all the denials is what hurt. The waking up doesn't hurt because you're already awake. You're already infinite. Is the infinite light in pain? Is infinite light of being going, okay, too bad. You're just going to have to just rip and be shredded and you know, does it have like a checklist for recognition of infinite? We really want to look carefully to see that the light's not sending you on a bunch of spiritual adventures. See, those are plays in consciousness. Just ask Jesus. See, now you have a dialogue with him. Everyone who comes here can hear him. Don't mistake that you can't. Everyone, because you're light first. So the light comes with the package, before the package of the decoration of the body. So we can start to see that play in consciousness. And it's always good. You can ask him, Jesus, is this in the play of consciousness? Or is this a release of the play when things are arising? Because there's so much play in consciousness of avoidance, of direct looking to see that the light's already here. See that the infinite light of being, the light that you are, is not going anywhere. It's just here. But he'll tell you, so many beings, you'll see that reflected. He's telling them, look, you're just pretending. You're so in the habit of pretending to say no to yourself. And he'll point right here and you just go, yep, you're right. It's helpful. And he can keep us out of the play in consciousness of what awakening looks like. It's like, here's the play of consciousness. You look over and conscious looks over within itself and goes, someone describes whatever their spiritual awakening is like, and then it starts the seeking mechanism immediately for that experience within consciousness of what awakening is going to look like. And then there's this disquietude because that particular play within consciousness has not shown up. Something must be wrong. No, what's wrong is not looking directly to see that the light's already here. And that's not wrong per se, but we'll always feel missing. That's the whole play of consciousness. I'm missing something. I'm missing out. Jesus, do I have a desire for an experience of missing out? I'll never spiritually awaken. Do I have that desired experience? That's the desire for hopelessness experience. That's the play within the ego thought system to make it feel, so it's actually avoiding. So here's the trick. The trick is, God, Jesus, when will I ever wake up? I'm never going to wake up. Then it's Jesus. Do I have a desire for an experience for it to feel like I can never wake up? As soon as we go with him right to desire, that mushroom cloud of death. Instead of the experience of death, the experience of motion, it's the desire for them. And it keeps that mushroom cloud from. What a gift this is, a great gift. We stay directly at the accountability level, not the accountability for sin, just the accountability just to look with him. Because when we look with him, we're accepting our divinity. That's acceptance of divinity, just straight on looking. He's not, see if there are any other assignments from him other than just looking to see what's true right now. That's primary. And then there may be seeming movements of the body that are most helpful. That's to help us relinquish conscious control of miracles. And to see that the play in consciousness is to create a little safety, comfort zone, a nice little house, and the investment in death through safety and form. And we have to catch that trick to have control over the miracles. From new perception of the world, there comes a future very different from the past. He's pointing to the happy dream. You can ask him, because we can all talk to him. Jesus, new perception is the happy dream, isn't it? Being in the world, but not of the world, not acted on. You won't feel like an object that's being slapped around. Jesus, you can ask him. It's pretty funny. Ask him, Jesus, do I desire to experience myself as an object that's being slapped around? At least you can laugh when he tells you yes. Okay, you're right. How am I going to get out of this? And every day that voice, it gets on the more and more precious list. The future now is recognized, but as extension of the present. It's rolling out. He's rolling out the red carpet of happiness as a future. And you can see, because it's seen as a play, it's not. See that, does infinite light have a challenge with the future? It sees everything with equal equanimity. See that does the light see everything with equanimity? Mm-hmm. See, it's not invested. It's not going to the racetrack and trying to buy a horse for a future win. Jesus, do I have a desire to keep going to the racetrack? That's what the ego is. It's gambling. It makes the appearance of a future through the play in consciousness to stitch dreams together. Is consciousness stitching dreams together? Asked Jesus. It stitches them together, and then it likes to bet on a racehorse. in like buying insurance, David would say that. You're betting against yourself. You're betting that you're going to die. See, how's that winning anything? That's buying a ticket to the death camp. Ask Jesus. You can ask him. I can hear him tell you. He'll tell you about insurance. You do it under guidance. He's practical. It doesn't mean, he's, dropping. He's going to lead you like the steps. Ask him, Jesus, are you going to give me like the steps? But if you don't step on the next stepping stone, see, if you don't step on it, you're trying to hold solid in personal identity, in the death wish, without taking the stepping stones he's putting out. And that's holding on to the death wish. You can ask him, Jesus, if I don't take the steps that you're offering me, am I holding on to death? Okay. Past mistakes can cast no shadows on it, so that fear has lost its idols. Wow. Jesus, let's ask him. Jesus, do you have any interest in my past mistakes? Ask him if he has one iota of interest in that. Does the light have one iota of interest in your past? He says, well, then how come you do? Yeah. That's all. That's a good question. If the light has no interest in it, who's interested? That's humbling. If the light has no interest, who's playing the interest game in the past? And so let's just ask the light if it's interested in a future. Does the light have an interest in a future? Is it looking around in there, counting the days? Well, we have to look because he's using the contrast with the play in consciousness to get us to laugh and quit being so serious. You can ask him, Jesus, would you to be joyful over seeing the truth? Is that his only interest for us? For us to get together in those joining sessions. He wants us to look directly and not, because there is a way to use humor not to look directly. Ask him. Everything in consciousness uses not to look directly. He's talking about the free laughter. You can go look up those satsang videos, okay, where they're with Emoji. You're going to just laugh so hard. You can see the exact moment in the play of consciousness when it's recognized it's one big joke. Buddha laughs at the sky because he goes, holy smokes, I've been making something true does not exist. That's when we're walking upside down, going out, out. Jesus is trying to turn us right side up. And then he can laugh at it all. Past mistakes can cast no shadows on it, so that fear has lost its idols. Fear has lost its idols. That's a good one. Let's ask him about that. Fear is an idol, false idol. Let's ask him, Jesus, is fear a false idol? See, it's worshiping. It's worshiping at the bank, though. It's a little altar. Jesus, do I like to worship at the altar of fear? Okay, show me that desire for an experience of worshiping at the altar of fear. And he reminds me, fear is merely meaning that you're not listening to me. You don't want to listen. Is that true? Ask him. Yes, that's true. We don't want to listen. We're in fear. We don't want to listen. I'm like, no, don't show me the truth. Like, it's like this. And it's funny because even if you cover your eyes, you can cover your eyes, pretend like you don't see, and look, the light is still there. Even if we don't want to see, like, is there light in there somewhere? I don't want to see that I'm infinite, Jesus. So fear has lost its idols and its images. This is a good one to see. Let's ask them. You can ask them, Jesus, is fear a bunch of images? It's the desire to bring those images right up close and experience the effects of images. It's going to get me. It's going to get me. Mm-hmm. You can ask them, is that what's happening? Notice fear. Let's just have a little look. As the light of divine being, we're all together. Look really closely at fear and see if it can get you. If the light goes haywire when it's looking at fear. Well, that's just look carefully. Really, we need to, because we like the play. Jesus, do I have an addiction to fear? He can't hide from the light. Yes. Let that smoke you. And just look directly at it. Okay, admit it. Oh, Jesus, do we have an addiction to fear? He said that's the whole gig. The whole gig. Consciousness requires the addiction to fear. Okay. 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 And what am I going to do, Jesus, when I'm out of fear? You see, that's what we're trying to duke it out. That's why we don't hear his voice, to see the addiction to fear. Now, come on. Ow, ow, ow. Oh, gosh. Okay, come back to the lesson. Now, cast no shadows on it. No shadows. Has lost its idols and its imaging and being formless. Oh, Jesus, let's look at that. Is the light formless? He says, spend some time here with formlessness. Give it a couple of minutes at least. That's what consciousness doesn't want to see. It's for ask him, Jesus, do we not want to see that we're formless? He says that's the whole gig. So you don't see that you're light, infinite, formless, changeless. Ta-da, it's all over. Wait a minute, you're trying to take consciousness away from me, Jesus, because I don't want to be formless. I actually said that to him. It's like I could see myself, just like wanting that to congeal like jello. It's like I want to be an object. You start to see it's like, oh, I want to be an object. Well, no, Jesus, I want to congeal like jello. I want to be. That's what we're trying to fight him for. Instead of being formless, we're trying to fight him to be an object. It's insane. But that's why, again, those joining sessions are going to get funnier and funnier. Just laugh. You'd be laughing your head off by the end, really, because you just start to see, oh my gosh, he's so right. And being formless, it has no effects. Does anything have an effect on infinite light in our direct experience? Look in there. So it's getting, as Emoji says, we're getting reacclimated to formlessness. And then he's showing us, okay, here's how you're denying that you're formless, infinite, changeless, supreme happiness. Death will not claim the future now, for life is now its goal, eternal life. That should be a capital L in the course. Life, infinite life. He's just turning inward. See that does the light of divine being, honesty of God, have a goal in there? Yet it's a helpful one within, because the play in consciousness to look outward and have a goal of death. He's turned it in, okay, have your goal be infinite, the L word, that to see that your life itself. You can ask him, Jesus, my life itself. And hear the light's answer. All the needed means are happily provided. Let's ask him, Jesus, will you provide all the means? Are all the means happily provided? And hear the yes. Is he saying no? He's not saying, come with me and I'll pull the rug underneath you. That's what the ego's saying. I feel like the rug's being pulled out. We learn in whose voice that is. Jesus, now here's the question. Jesus, do I want the means to be happily provided? And be honest, like, you may hear a no there. No, I don't want happily means. Okay. And we just go, all right, you're right. I don't want it. See, that's why it's not appearing, because we don't want it. Then you can work with that one. I need to clear this from conscience. You get really excited. Oh, here's one. I need help, Jesus. Who can grieve or suffer when the present has been freed, extending its security and peace into a quiet future filled with joy? See, that's the doubt thought. The doubt thought about, can we have a future filled with joy? But don't ask wrong mind that question. What's wrong mind going to say?
Hell no.
Hell no. No quiet peace for you. Do not pass go directly to hell. That's what the ego's going to say. That's why we have to listen to the light. Jesus, in the light of divine being and honesty of God, is it possible to have a quiet future filled with joy? Which voice? Let that voice speak. And then he says, follow me. Follow me. Father, we were mistaken in the past. Jesus, am I mistaken in a past? That a past exists? Just admit it, yeah. Okay. And choose to use the present to be free. To see who you are, infinite, unchanging light. Now do we leave the future in your hands, leaving behind our past mistakes, ensure that you will keep our present promises. Oh, Jesus, are you holding our present promises for us? He says, until you reach over from my hands and take what's already yours. That's beautiful. Are you willing to take what's yours? And see, it's not taking, it's merely accepting that giving and receiving is one, that you already have everything. He's saying everything. Sure that you will keep your present promises and guide the future in their holy light. Jesus is our only function, this holy light of divine being. Do we have any other function than light of divine being and supreme happiness? Jesus, in this lifetime, is it possible to transcend the sense of personal identity? Is it completely within my divine power to recognize myself as infinite, unchanging being? Is it completely within my power to cease to deny that I'm infinite, unchanging light? Amen, Jesus, amen. He says, just sit with the light today. as the light, contemplating light, pure, infinite, unchanging light. And there may be a spontaneous joining later today. We'll keep you notified through the messenger groups. A very purposeful, loving joining. Let your heart be light, Jesus says. Let our hearts be light. I'm here with you till the end of time.